Hello and welcome. I am Javon from Art, and today I'm going to be working on my drawing of Chun-Li. Just going to clean up and add details and go from there. Also, I'll be watching a documentary about Smiling Coffee Killer. It's going to be interesting, so something in the background to chill and watch. I'm going to work on that until it's time to go. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, let's go.
The Vietnamese iced coffee had cyanide in it. Coffee was poisoned. She drank the coffee. She's now dead.
Okay.
She's Australia's iced coffee killer who
That's
poisoned her best friend.
Poisoning someone is a very personal way of killing somebody, isn't it?
Very, very personal.
They still can't prove anything.
Cold, calculated revenge.
Like, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
And a key Aussie witness speaks out for the first time.
Based on the two sides of her that I saw in the work environment, she was on a trail of destruction. It was horrific.
Hello, I'm Michael Usher and welcome to Spotlight. Sydney-sider Jessica Wongso is better known as the Smiling Coffee Killer. Almost a decade ago, the then 27-year-old brazenly and fatally poisoned her best friend in a cafe while holidaying in Jakarta. Now, after serving just 8 years of a 20-year sentence, she's out and fighting to clear her name so she can return home to Australia. In her first ever tell-all interview, Jessica sits down with Liam Bartlett to share her version of events. But as you'll see, she hasn't quite got her story straight.
Hello.
Jessica,
Hi.
good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
There's something you can't quite pin down about convicted murderer Jessica Wongso. Is this former New South Wales ambulance worker innocent, as half the Indonesian population seem to think?
If you didn't do it, who put the cyanide in Myrna's coffee?
Oh, I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to answer your question.
Or is she, as those who are convinced of her guilt like to put it, completely mad?
They're crazy, split personality, psycho-narcissist. Is there a good Jessica and a bad Jessica?
The mic on?
I think
Jessica
did it.
Wongso's infamy
Is that
has made
unfortunately
her
can't prove it.
Indonesia's most recognisable young woman.
With the physical evidence, I guess.
It's
Well, it doesn't
easy to
make
forget
sense.
that this Aussie resident, who is trying to clear her name so she can rejoin
I
her
never heard
family
about this
back in
story.
Australia, is a killer.
I never heard about the story of Ron Mango. I was surprised. It seemed like she was just jealous or bitter that she wasn't invited to the wedding initially or something like that. This is why you don't keep people around they don't have a good relationship with. Because people who pretend to be your friends and they may secretly be planning against you. Sometimes it's best to let go of old friendships if they serve their purpose. Or be wareful of the people you keep around you. Not everyone says your
January
friends your friends.
6, 2016. Three young women are catching up for a coffee at one of Jakarta's classiest cafes. Jessica Wongso has recently arrived from Sydney, where she's lived since she was 16. She hasn't seen former best friend, Myrna Salihin, since a falling out the year before. She's taken the liberty of pre-ordering her an iced coffee ahead of time. But seconds after Myrna takes her first sip, she begins convulsing and foaming at the mouth.
Suspicious.
In just over an hour, she'll be dead. And so begins the most compelling murder mystery in Indonesian history.
What was the reaction of Jessica? Why wasn't she panicked enough when Mirna collapsed.
Jessica belum berencana mengajukan pra-peradilan.
The entire nation is so instantly intrigued that TV presenter Tim Marbun
Jessica Kumala Wongso
will be given his own nightly news show on Indonesia's largest network to cover the daily drama of Jessica's trial.
So every single detail mattered right after that moment right there.
Can you remember? Can you vividly remember that moment that Myrna took a mouthful of that poisoned coffee?
Well, firstly, I'm not really comfortable of you saying how you call the coffee, but
Why is that?
Yeah, because I'm still not sure. Like, if it's like, is it really that scary? Is it really that poisonous?
As you'll see, Jessica disputes just about every single aspect of this case. But how exactly did she and Myrna Salihin become the central players in a case that has captivated not only Indonesia, but Australia
Cyanide-laced coffee.
and the world?
Are you sure Jessica killed Mirna? 1,000,000%.
Privileged young women from rich families, Jessica and Myrna met while studying graphic design at the Billy Blue Design College in Sydney. Just days after Myrna's death, and before being arrested for her murder, Jessica gushed about their friendship on Indonesian TV.
Kita waktu kuliah pergi makan.
When we were in college, we would go out to eat or to drink coffee. Every time we met, we always reconnected. We would always be laughing and having a good time.
But in the first of what will be a series of stunning backflips, Jessica now appears to rewrite her own history.
Can you describe to me what your friendship with Myrna was?
We weren't close at all. It was because we came from the same country. Like, that was why we kind of like know each other, and it's nothing more than like, we weren't best friends or anything. And after graduation, she went back to Indonesia for good, and I stayed in Australia.
Whatever the state of their friendship, over the next 4 years, the pair only saw each other intermittently. Jessica was, for all intents and purposes, an Aussie. Living in Sydney, she had an Australian boyfriend and was working for the New South Wales Ambulance Service as a graphic designer, while Myrna was enjoying a successful personal and professional life in Indonesia. Until that coffee catch-up in 2016, when Jessica was visiting Jakarta for the first time in 4 years. What was the original purpose of that fateful meeting at the cafe between Jessica and Myrna?
It was a normal meeting, a very normal meeting, at a coffee spot. We do that 2-3 times a day, I guess, here in Jakarta. There was an importance on how was their relationship before that meeting, but can't really say that could lead to a murder.
The timeline prosecutors used to establish Jessica's guilt begins at 1 p.m. that day, well before she gets to the upmarket Olivier Cafe in one of the city's ritziest shopping malls. Hours in advance of their scheduled catch-up, Jessica wants to pre-order her friend's drinks.
That's so weird. Why?
At 1 p.m. that day, you send a text to your friends asking them if you can pre-order the drinks. Why would you do that 4 hours before?
I did say that. Oh.
I don't
At
like
1:04 p.m. Which drink do you want?
I think people have.
Oh yeah, that makes
This
everything
is
bad.
my.
No, but they say don't.
This is my personal opinion. I think when you're more conventionally attractive, to each their own. Some people may already feel. I feel like when you're more conventionally attractive, some people are more willing to let things slide or overlook things or disbelieve things. Like, I'm pretty sure if it was like a non-conventionally attractive woman and she'd being accused of this, more people would be more inclined to believe that she did it. But since this girl, and I was like, oh, there's no way this girl who's more professionally attractive could possibly do this. But unfortunately, that's the thing that happens. Or they get a lighter sentence. As you see, she only served, I think she got 20 years or something like that. And only served 8 years.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah.
We'll order when we get there. And you insist on pre-ordering drinks 4 hours before. Why do you do that?
I don't know, maybe because I think that I was going to be there earlier. Maybe. I didn't have like an evil thoughts at that time. So everything that I did, it was kind of like, oh, that's what I felt right to, felt like the right thing to do. If you think of me with a good intention, I wouldn't, I didn't even remember.
The reason why I'm so critical,
I don't know.
is I remember watching
remember,
a true crime documentary about her, and the things she was saying,
a little bit
the
strange,
things she was
isn't it?
doing,
Yeah, okay.
just didn't
well,
add
that
up.
happened then. I can't say anything more.
And I think one of the factors was something from doing more, like, I guess looking for more evidence or getting more evidence and stuff. I think I could be wrong that in this culture or something, the bodies were, they didn't want to, what do you call it? You know what it's called? The word slipped from me when they do autopsy. They didn't believe in an autopsy like that, so they didn't want to do that, so they couldn't get like further, like evidence or whatever. Fortunately, which is understandable. Some people do not want their loved ones being, cut up that way. They want them. Yeah, it's sad. I think
She and Myrna.
She got lucky because a lot of things went wrong that went in her favor.
And a third friend, Hani, had all agreed to meet up at 5 p.m. But Jessica arrives at the cafe nearly an hour and a half early, at 3:32. Police will claim it's time she uses to prepare for her crime.
Why did you get there so early?
Because of the traffic rule. It have to be at least 3 people or something like in the car at a certain time.
Jakarta's traffic congestion rules allow only cars with 3 occupants to use main roads during peak periods.
That's interesting.
So it wasn't like I deliberately wanted to come early or anything. It's just because I had to.
If Jessica's actions up to this point were entirely innocent, as she claims, what she does next is much harder to explain. She spends the next 40 minutes or so in the shopping mall nearby, returning at 4:14 p.m. with 3 shopping bags, each containing only a single small bar of soap. Oddly, she then walks around the cafe, checking out different locations.
That's not
As
suspicious
she
enough
looks
for me.
around, she seems to be not just scouting the place, seeing if it's nice enough for me and my
So I would
friends,
probably do the same thing
but
too. If I'm
actually
here
looking at
early,
the seat
I want the
positions.
best location.
And
I'm not
I can
saying
see
she's
at
innocent.
certain times,
I don't
she
find
actually
that suspicious. That could
looks
just
at the
be
CCTV.
anybody. Like
Clearly
I'm
you're looking
early
around.
somewhere,
What are you looking for?
I'll move around, just find the best
I
location.
don't think I was looking around finding CCTV, to be honest. I never really actually did that
I'll give her
in a
that.
public place. But
But she's
if
still
I was
sketchy.
looking around, like if my eyes go somewhere, I could be probably looking at like something or like someone or, like people around me. And if they want to perceive it as, oh, she was looking around for CCTV, then it's going to happen like that.
Whether deliberately or by chance,
But she did it.
the table Jessica chooses is hidden from the closest CCTV camera, which is blocked by a plant. But there's a second camera rolling on the other side of the cafe. It captures Jessica's drinks order arriving shortly after she sits down. 2 cocktails for herself and Hani, and an iced coffee for Myrna. She then appears to arrange the 3 shopping bags around the drinks, effectively hiding them from the CCTV camera.
Jessica, as you know, a lot has been made of
Suspicious.
the placement
That
of
is
the bags,
suspicious.
the 3 shopping bags on the table. Why did you place the 3 bags on the table?
Oh, it's just, again, it's just me being me. Like, I just put it there
I
and
believe
it's
it,
like
though.
shuffle it and play with it. And it's like me just being bored, it really doesn't mean anything at all. Like, if I have to be honest with you.
So it's just a pure coincidence that it shielded the CCTV from the drinks.
I don't believe in coincidences.
Did she strategically place those shopping bags? We don't really know. You can't really measure that. If you strategically, handled a gun or strategically placed a trap, you could know that that was done intentionally with malice, But strategically placing a shopping bag, that's either coincidental or pure genius.
52 minutes later, at 5:16 p.m, Myrna and Hani arrive. Almost immediately, Myrna sips her Vietnamese iced coffee. The CCTV camera on the far side of the cafe captures what happens next. Although grainy, Myrna can be seen clearly distressed, fanning her face.
Do you remember that moment?
Well, I think she just took a sip, and after that she was saying something like it tastes really weird and stuff. And after that she got really sick, and that's it. It's pretty much all I remember. Like, people just like swarming around, like I didn't know what happened at that time. I didn't know.
Well, when she threw her head back, you can see it in the CCTV. It's quite confronting, isn't it? I mean, it's a terrible thing.
But I didn't know what to do about it, though. Like, what can I do? Like, what could I do?
Next, Jessica's story begins to unravel.
If you didn't do it, somebody else did, right?
Maybe.
And later...
It was horrific.
For the first time, Jessica's former Australian boss lifts the lid on her dark side.
Do you still think that she is capable of murder?
Anyone's capable of murder, to be honest.
Who's ever done this and thought, oh, God, I'm so stressed, got so much work and stuff.
It's 5:24 p.m. Myrna Salihin has just collapsed in Jakarta's Olivier Cafe after sipping an iced coffee bought for her by her friend from Australia, Jessica Wongso.
When Myrna collapsed at the table, what did Jessica do?
Once Myrna collapsed, her friends tried to help her, and Jessica, as we see on the video, she just kind of stood still. And this was what a lot of people thought was not normal.
Instead, Jessica zeroes in on Myrna's coffee.
You turn to the cafe manager at that point and you say, what did you put in that drink?
Yeah, because it was just like a first instinct. Like, she got sick just straight after she drank the coffee.
Suspicious, the cafe manager keeps the coffee for police. In the days following, they'll confirm it contains cyanide, one of the deadliest poisons on Earth. Even touching it can cause intense skin irritation.
Myrna is then on the floor, froth coming out of her mouth, convulsing. And you're standing off to one side, you can see, just sort of scratching your hands.
Oh, it's my habit.
It's your habit?
I always do this.
What, when you're nervous or?
Like, yes. Yeah, I always do this. Like, it's just kind of like a habit kind of thing. But it doesn't mean that it's like itchy or something from poison and stuff like that. No, it's not like that. Like how they...
No, I didn't suggest that. I'm not saying that. You made the suggestion. I'm just saying you're standing there scratching your hands, but you're not helping.
Myrna is wheeled out, and just over an hour later, dies in hospital. Her symptoms are consistent with cyanide poisoning. And though it will later be contested, police claim there are traces of the poison in her stomach.
So sad.
Let's keep it very simple. The Vietnamese iced coffee.
Yeah.
It was later proved to have cyanide. Your friend Myrna took a mouthful of that coffee.
Yeah.
She then frothed at the mouth, convulsed, and was sent straight to hospital where she died.
Yeah, I remember that.
Coffee was poisoned. She drank the coffee. She's now dead. That's simple.
Okay.
And how else do you make that look any different than what it was?
I shouldn't even tell you. Like, Liam, I'm so sorry. There are a lot of things that I'm not allowed to say, like in public, including stating things like, you know, I didn't do what people think that I did.
Jessica says her parole conditions and a judicial review of her case prevent her from publicly declaring her innocence.
So here's the key question. If you didn't do it, who put the cyanide in Myrna's coffee?
Oh, you know, I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to answer your question.
You're allowed to have an opinion.
No, I'm not allowed to have that kind of, like, I'm not supposed to voice my opinion publicly. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
But if you didn't do it, somebody else did, right?
Maybe. I can only say maybe.
I could only say that something killed her. Of course, that's probably the only fact that we have in this case, that something killed Myrna.
But as we've seen, it was Jessica's suspicious behaviour that put her in the spotlight of guilt. And that behaviour got even more suspicious after Myrna's death. Jessica sent a news article about poisoned coffee to Myrna's sister, well before police revealed the existence of cyanide.
You send a link to Myrna's sister talking about coffee, fake coffee with cyanide in it. Why would you think along those lines?
Maybe someone told me something about it, because I never heard of that, you know, type of poison before. I must have reason, which I can't remember right now. Honest to God, I can't remember. But I must have reason.
She doesn't answer for everything. I don't like that.
You're telling me you've never heard of cyanide before this?
Yeah.
Didn't know of its existence?
That's a lie.
No.
That's a lie. I'm going to check. The first time I heard about cyanide was from my friend in grade school. This was probably like grade 3 or 4. And how did the topic come up? We were talking about apple seeds and cherry pits. How you're not supposed to eat apple seeds and stuff because they contain cyanide. But someone told me there's not enough cyanide and it's protected in the apple seed and you digest it whole. It'll take like a lot of apple seeds to get cyanide from it. And also almonds too, apparently, have small amounts of cyanide or something like that. I could be wrong. Maybe it was apple seeds or something like that, or cherry pits. But that's the first time I heard about cyanide. There's no way. That's like a common thing. That's like common knowledge. It's like saying you never heard about I don't know. I don't know, Michael Jackson or something, or the Queen of England. Anyways, like I feel like at that age, everyone hears of like everyone know what a poison is. The first time you think in mind of poison, you're thinking of like cyanide or
which is strange,
or arsenic,
considering
like that.
Jessica's intense curiosity about any tests that might have been carried out on Myrna's body.
It's the suggestive nature of all this, the little things along the way.
Yeah.
Like the day that you rang Myrna's sister, Sandy.
Yeah.
The same day Myrna officially died in hospital, and you asked her what the
Exactly.
lab
I
test
just sorry
results
to interrupt. I just had to Google it to make sure. Yeah, it's I remember. It was like in grade school, and it was about apple seed. I just typed in "Are apple seeds poisonous?" And Google AI is saying yes, apple seeds contain small compounds called amygdalins, which can break down to release cyanide. However, the amount of cyanide present is generally not a cause of concern if only a few seeds are ingested. A large quantity of apple seeds will need to be consumed to reach toxic doses. Exactly, I remember that. And I always freaked me out like, what? Apple seeds are poisonous? Technically, yes, they are. And I think almonds too. I could be wrong about the almonds, but I remember something about something having almonds being poisonous. Not poisonous, but like maybe a small amount. Yes, again, certain types of almonds, specifically bitter almonds, are poisonous. Raw, yeah, when it's raw and untreated, like cashews, and also ackee. I don't know if you guys know that. It's like a staple dish. It's like a fruit from a tree. It's used in the national dish in Jamaica, ackee and saltfish. That, if it's not ripe or something properly, is actually poisonous. I'm not sure if it's cyanide poisoning, but it has stuff can make you sick, kill you. And I think another one was unripe breadfruit and unripe ackee. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we eat today that if they're not fully prepared, or like raw cashews can be dangerous if it's not ripe, can also be poisonous. There's a lot of things. Cyanide's like small trace amount. But anyways, it's interesting. Anyways, continue. Sorry, just
Why
had to
did
get
you
that
do
on
that?
Yeah, because I
off my chest.
remember after she died, she was like kind of like she was taken to the place where the test was taken, like the sample. So I was just curious, like what happened? You know, like when your friend just died, you just want to know what happened. That's
Of
it.
course, you want to know what happens.
I found it very strange that she would put a call in to Myrna's sister and ask her
Oh, yeah.
what the test results were from the lab.
I'm gonna
And it
interrupt
seems like a
again. I don't know if you guys watched this, but Breaking Bad, there was an episode where there's a plant, a common like not a house plant, a common plant in people's gardens where the berries or is very toxic to children and pets if ingested. And I remember, I think it was ricin or something like that. And there's an episode where, uh, spoiler alert, where Walter White he's having issues with Jesse and he intentionally poisons a kid, but Jesse's trying to figure out how this kid got poisoned or what's going on and why he's sick. And then somehow Walter White, or he remembers that Walter White was telling him about a poisonous plant. And then he suggests that to the ER people. And they're like looking at him weird, like, how would you know that? It's a very uncommon poison. And it turns out he was correct. So by him being correct, put a lot of suspicion on him as how do you knew that? And it caused a bunch of problems with him in the growing relationship. He ends up leaving and breaking up. Then Jesse realized that it was Walter White who poisoned the kid because he's the one who suggested that poison to get rid of someone else before. So that's just why it's interesting when something happens and you know the cause before the doctors know the cause. It's gonna put a red flag on you, like, how did you know that? And why were you correct about that? Unless you knew about it. So this is kind of like the same situation there a little bit. Like her telling, oh, your sister was probably poisoned by the coffee. It was this, blah, 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 blah. Like, how do you know that before the doctors know that? The police know that. Sometimes, yeah, it could be, I don't know, coincidence. I don't even believe in coincidence.
strange thing to ask the sister of a dead girl.
Yeah.
I remember talking to the family, and I think they were kind of triggered about that phone call. So that's very, very strange. Very,
Very strange indeed.
Very,
And very specific.
you know, suspicious.
Suspicious, yeah.
That was enough for a lot of people to accuse that's strange enough for me to believe that he did it.
Or have involvement.
But perhaps Jessica's most puzzling act occurred in the hours after the crime.
One that really caught our attention is how she no longer had the clothes she wore at the time of the incident.
The pants that you were wearing, that
Oh, yeah,
day at
yeah.
the cafe.
Yeah.
Your
happened to her?
housekeeper told the trial that you instructed her to throw them out.
Yeah, because it was ripped. Like I was really fat at that times, and the rips was like not in the seam.
She has too much
It was kind of like
excuses.
here, so it was like unrepaintable. Like you can't repair that. So I just told her to get rid of it.
I find it very strange that you would
Too
be
much
wearing your
excuses.
clothes just because you don't want to wear them anymore. And apparently that's what happened, and we're forced to believe that that's a normal thing.
No. Coincidence don't happen like that.
3 weeks after Myrna Salahin's death, Jessica was charged with her murder.
Everyone's
Next.
innocent, but
Australia's iced coffee killer on trial.
To see you in front of all those cameras.
why is she
laughing
smiling?
almost.
You know what? Some people are
I
nervous
just thought
and
that
that's
was a
no
very
reaction,
strange
but
reaction.
I wouldn't be
And was her
smiling.
best friend's wedding her motive for murder?
Because I wondered why you didn't get invited to the wedding.
Yeah,
I can't remember. They
exactly.
didn't find me. I can't even remember.
I remember that. Frenemies can be deadly. Don't keep people around that serve
My
no
work is
purpose
easy
for
because
you
I use
anymore.
ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks.
Or you have a
I
feeling
start by
that someone
brain
doesn't
dumping
like
everything
you.
I need to get done, and
Trust your gut. Doesn't have to be mean or anything. You just stay out their way and stay away from them.
A former Sydney woman has smiled after being told she'll spend the next 20 years in an Indonesian jail for putting cyanide in her friend's coffee, poisoning her to death.
Jessica
crazy.
Wongso's hopes of ever returning home to her family in Australia are increasingly unlikely. In police custody, facing the possibility of the death penalty for the murder of her best friend, it's clear why she swiftly became known as the smiling coffee killer.
To see you in front of all those cameras and you're sort of smiling, you know,
That'd
you're,
be
you're laughing
nervousness.
almost. I mean, I just thought that was a very strange
Because you don't know how
reaction.
people react when they're in a
For
situation.
somebody who's
Not that I'm
been
making an
accused
excuse
of
for her,
this
but
sort of heinous
that's not
crime.
clue she's guilty or
well,
not guilty.
I didn't know what to do. What was I supposed to do? What would be more acceptable publicly? Cry? Angry?
Like I'm not making any excuses for her or anything, but in that situation, you don't know how people react. It could be out of nervousness or anything. Because I've seen people like see something terrible happen, and they're like nervously laughing and chuckling. Not that they did anything or they're guilty. It's just that that's the response. But I'm not making an excuse for her. I'm just saying you can't use that as evidence against somebody as them being guilty. Just be keeping it real. It's not concrete evidence.
Like, I don't know.
But I know she's guilty. I know proof. I know I'm contradicting myself, but too much coincidence.
Whatever I did was wrong anyway. So yeah, I was just like, I'm naturally a friendly person, so I just do smile a lot.
Indonesia's trial of the century began on June 15, 2016. From day one, it captivated the nation, and for the next 5 months was compulsory viewing.
I want to know how that
The
would have been
trial,
handled in
Jessica,
America.
I mean, here in Indonesia, the trial was compared to the
like the
O.J.
event.
Simpson trial in America, just in terms of publicity and profile. Were you surprised by the scale of all that?
Yeah, it was really surprising. I didn't expect that at all. Like, it was just so big. Like, the audience, like, it's literally the whole country, you know? Like, wow.
There was hotly disputed forensic evidence and emotional denials from Jessica, and a touch of absurdity. A prosecution expert who presented a psychological evaluation of Jessica.
Sakit hati, ya, dendam, membuat dia sunyi. Ingin diperhatikan, narsisnya keluar, kayak anak kecil.
But this damning profile was based on the shape of Jessica's face.
Dasar teori saudara mengatakan ini semua tadi itu apa itu tadi?
Dari empirical study, studi-studi bintang film di Amerika, dan sebagainya.
Baik, menarik pendapat dan penjelasan ahli.
These questionable aspects of the trial would later be covered in a major Netflix documentary, which many credit as the reason Jessica got out of jail 12 years early. A major point of contention seized on by the documentary was the relatively small amount of cyanide found in Myrna's stomach, compared to the very high concentration found in her coffee.
As we know in the trials, it's something to be debated on, was there cyanide in the drink, how much cyanide was there, even all the way to, did cyanide actually kill Myrna?
Without conclusive forensic evidence, prosecutors had to convince the judges of what they believed Jessica's motive was. They claimed she flew into a rage when Myrna told her to leave her Australian boyfriend, Patrick.
I remember that.
What about the suggestion that you got really angry with her at a restaurant when she told you you should drop this boyfriend, this toxic
I
boyfriend?
didn't even tell, like, the funny thing is, like, I didn't even tell her about him. So where did that come from?
There's no doubt Jessica's relationship with her Australian boyfriend, Patrick, was so toxic, he took an AVO out against her.
Jessica, took out a restraining order against you. Why did he do that?
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
It was complicated. It was like, you know, like the
No,
relationship we
this girl's
had.
unstable.
It was kind of like toxic in a
Lock
way.
her ass
Like,
up. Lock her ass back up.
We didn't
Use my
really see eye
language.
to eye, like in a lot of things. But it was complicated. Like, it's not how it seems.
I
In
hear from
his
him.
application for a restraining order, Patrick said he was in fear of Jessica.
I mean, I guess the bottom line is, do you have the potential to be violent?
No, of course not. What can I do? No.
You know it's
But that's why
bad
I'm wondering about
when
his
an
actions there.
ex-boyfriend is
Taking out
saying
a
he's in
restraining
fear
order
of his ex.
you know, is quite a thing to go to.
I'm
Speaking
not here to talk
about
about
that,
him, like, honestly.
You guys remember that case or seen that case about the military guy and his wife? He literally had caught video evidence of his wife poisoning his coffee with bleach. Each morning, she'd be pouring like a small amount of bleach in his coffee with the goals of slowly poisoning him and affecting his health. And he got suspicious because he started noticing that his coffee was tasting bad. Hello, welcome. Started noticing that his coffee was tasting bad. So this guy decided to put up cameras, hidden cameras in his house. And he caught his wife pouring bleach in his coffee maker in the water. Because it's like an automatic coffee maker in the water. And here's the crazy thing. They were gone off, I guess they call it off duty or a tour or whatever. And they were stationed somewhere. So for I think it was like 4 months or whatever, this guy had to pretend like he didn't know that his wife was trying to kill him until he could get back to the States and prove it with the evidence. So this guy acted like nothing was happening, act normal. Slept beside her, ate dinner around her, pretended to drink the coffee in the coffee machine. But the funny thing to me, you know what, poisoning nobody is funny. The funny thing to me, I'm just imagining this wife that's trying to kill her husband, wondering, why won't this guy die no matter how much bleach I put in this drink? So she's probably thinking, this guy must be a superpower. But the thing is, wouldn't you stop putting bleach in his drink? No, she kept doing it, upping the dosage. To me, that's wild. I mean, she really wanted him dead. And there's another story where, man, sometimes the people at the fair, sometimes the people right beside you in bed. I don't know, that's crazy. There's another one where a guy, he woke up and he's complaining about a headache. But rewind just a little bit. His wife shot him in the head when he was sleeping, and he woke up complaining of a headache. She drove him to the hospital and fled. And when he, I guess after he was healing up and recovering, and he realized what happened, the doctors told him that someone shot him in the head, and then they concluded it was the wife. The wife literally shot him in the head. He wakes up thinking it's a bad headache. She drives him to the hospital, gets medical treatment and all that stuff, survives, and finds out that his wife shot him in the head. That's crazy. Anyways, careful. Be careful who you sleep next to. Let's keep going.
We can do that off camera, obviously, but yeah,
That's
he was in the
crazy.
past. I'll tell you the reason later.
Okay.
She
That's
never did.
crazy.
Myrna's husband has said publicly that she was afraid of being alone with you.
Why would she be? Oh, no, that's not true at all.
Why would he say that?
I don't know. That's the thing, Liam. I don't know why people say what they said. Yeah.
You ever
But
meet
what
someone
is
and like, you know
undeniably
what?
true
This
is
person
that
gives
in
me
the wake
bad
of their
vibes.
falling out over Patrick, Myrna failed to invite Jessica to her upcoming wedding.
I remember
This
that.
is the luxury Balinese wedding venue where Myrna got married. She said it was the happiest day of her life, but it also seems to be the trigger point for what ultimately was her horrible murder. You see, back in Sydney, Jessica was said to be seething when she saw the Facebook photos and realised she hadn't been invited. 2 days later, she was sacked by New South Wales ambulance. And if you believe what you hear in court, that's when the wheels fell off and she started plotting her revenge.
I wondered why you didn't get invited to the wedding.
Oh, because I was overseas. Like, I was in Australia. Like, I couldn't be bothered to, like, fly over just to, you know, like, just to attend her wedding.
But you didn't get that choice, did you? She didn't invite you.
Oh, yeah. She's triggered. That
I
was
can't
in the
remember.
video.
Did she invite me? I can't even remember.
That was a quick. I know you can't judge things based off people's reaction, but the way how she responded to that, you can see a little flare up in her. Yeah, look at that. You know what's funny? I'm on YouTube right now, and I know on YouTube how you can see like the point where people rewind back the most. There's 2 points, and right now, the point where I'm trying to rewind back to is like the third highest point they rewinded to or replayed. There were some of the comments, but yeah.
Oh, because I was overseas. Like, I was in Australia.
Here it comes.
Like, I couldn't be bothered to, like, fly over just to, you know, like, just to attend her wedding.
But you didn't get that choice, did you? She didn't invite you.
Cracks in the armor. Also, it could be them just editing it that way. But she looks, you can see the little crack in the armor. That fake, sweet, you know, oh, innocent, happy, cheerful thing. The real her came out there.
I can't remember. Did she invite me? I can't even remember.
You can't remember. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I can't remember.
I think she was telling me that she was getting married and that's it. Yeah.
If someone told you to get
found
married,
that Jessica spiraled
let's be
into
honest, let's be
jealousy
honest.
and resentment.
If someone told you to get married, what's the next question after you ask when and the date and who, if you don't know that already? Am I invited or where am I going to sit? Or am I as bridesmaid? Is that the next? Would that be the next natural question?
Within a month of the wedding,
Because you wouldn't.
she flew to Jakarta and arranged that fateful coffee catch-up.
Oh.
Jessica had no job and no boyfriend, while Myrna had it all.
Yeah,
So
that's
this idea
dirty.
of you being jealous of her because she was pretty.
Yeah. The voice act, not the voice actor, the narrator. Yeah, you are foul for that. You are dirty. You're just stabbing. You're just twisting the blade. He's like, that same month, she went back down to Jakarta, where after Myrna got married, with no job, no boyfriend. That's that's cold.
Boyfriend, while Myrna had it all.
So
it's found that Jessica spiraled into jealousy and resentment.
Yep.
Within a month of the wedding, she flew to Jakarta and arranged that fateful coffee catch-up.
Like, you out there
Jessica
have fun
had
without
no
me?
job and no boyfriend.
No job.
While
No
Myrna
boyfriend.
had it all.
Myrna
So this
had it all.
idea of you
That's
being
cold.
jealous of her because she was prettier, because her family was wealthier, because she was more successful, because she got married.
No, not at all. Sometimes the reality and what people said about the reality, they are really different, but there's no way that I could actually clarify that.
Yeah.
Because it's just really tiring and there's no point. If people...
You were saying there's a lot of lies that have been told.
Yeah, many.
But on October 27, 2016, Jessica was found guilty of murdering Myrna Salahin. And what helped to sway the judges to their verdict? Damning testimony from this Australian witness.
Do you still think that she is capable or was capable of murder?
Next, her boss, who saw Jessica's dark side.
Based on the two sides of her that I saw in a work environment, she was on a trailer.
I know I keep interrupting, but I have to, or else they'll copyright claim the video and just playing their videos, whatever. But another thing I heard, what I found interesting, someone says that since the majority of people spend most of their time at work, your co-workers probably know the real you because they see you at your worst most of the time, more than your other people would see you. Your co-workers see you at your worst. So it's interesting that they got her boss to give a character witness of her or whatever they call that. Because when people are at work, sometimes you see the worst because they're stressed at work or whatever. You see the real them. Anyways, interesting.
Distractions. It was horrific.
Will never procrastinate again once you understand this. Psychologists have recently discovered that the real reason why you procrastinate so much is not due to your lack of motivation or even laziness. In fact, it's because your mind is using procrastination as a coping mechanism for dealing with something shocking that I'm about to share with you right now. So come with me. So let me ask you this. What you do right now in the present moment, is that dictating your next moment and ultimately your future? You bet. But have you ever noticed, this is the freaky part, anytime you're in the present, looking to take massive amount of action towards that new sexy project, all of a sudden, you begin to procrastinate. You don't really make it happen, right? And that's because after saying you're neuroscientists, and they'll reveal the
I'm guilty of that 100%.
Jessica Wongso was sentenced to 20 years for the murder of Myrna Salahin. But although the case played out in Indonesia, it was in Australia, Jessica's adopted home, that critical testimony would be heard against her.
Hey, Christy. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good.
Hey, so do you still think that she is capable or was capable of murder?
That's a really tough question.
A really tough question.
Christy Carter was Jessica's boss at the New South Wales Ambulance Services head office in Sydney.
What I can say is that under police interview at that time, I was asked that question and I answered it truthfully. I answered it honestly, based on the two sides of her that I saw in the work environment and in the personal, where she was on a trail of destructions.
Christy has promised herself and her partner that this exclusive interview will be her first and last about the trauma she and others suffered from Jessica.
So Myrna's death really has had an impact on you.
What sticks with me and what has an impact is that that is someone's daughter, someone's sister.
Yeah.
It's never been up to me whether she was guilty or innocent. It's up for the court to decide that, but I think for Myrna, they need to decide that once and for all. I have no opinion on her guilt or innocence. For me, it was questioning around capability, around behaviour, and around her mental state at that time. And what people saw in the office was not what was transpiring outside of that.
You lived in Australia for quite a while.
Yes.
How many years?
But like 11, 12 years.
In a case with little forensic evidence and a motive of revenge, prosecutors had to delve into Jessica's past to paint a picture of her character. And her boss, Christy Carter, testified she'd seen Jessica's life in Australia unravel, particularly at work.
Why did they ask you to leave?
I kind of like, I had a really difficult time at that time, kind of thing. So it was like, in the past, there are things that I'm not very proud of, you know, like I did a lot of things in the past. So yeah, it's not something I want to talk about right now.
She's not giving us nothing, but wants us to believe everything. That's crazy.
It's
That's
not
crazy.
surprising Jessica is reticent to answer the question.
What did she
Given
do?
that around the time she lost her job, she had a self-confessed drinking problem.
Residents at a Leichhardt nursing home got an alarming wake-up call last night after a car slammed into the building.
And she was arrested for crashing her car into a Sydney nursing home.
That's not
A 26-year-old woman was behind the wheel and police suspect under the influence.
So you crashed your car into that nursing home,
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah. I was-
the aged care
That's
home in
terrible.
Leichhardt. You were lucky not to die, Jessica.
Yeah, yeah.
In
Do
that
you
case.
think I'm lucky? Like, after I've been through, you think that lucky? Like, I should have, you know, passed.
Well, you were certainly lucky not to kill one of the aged care
Yeah,
residents.
I was lucky for that.
Were you drinking then?
Yes. I was having those moments, like, you know, like I was just, yeah.
When you were called on to help her towards the end of her employment, was it really clear to you that her behaviour was so erratic?
Yeah, it was erratic. It was dangerous to herself and to others.
Yeah, she's unstable.
It was horrific. We were an accidental witness to behaviour that was damaging and dangerous that not everyone saw. Not everyone saw that. You know, we kept it very quiet at work and protected her.
Christy Carter told the Indonesian National Police she believed Jessica had a split personality.
I'm trying to find a way of reconciling the description that some people have for you. So Christy Carter, for example, your boss at New South Wales Ambulance Service,
Yeah.
she told the court that you had two very different personalities.
But did you check? Did she actually say that?
Let me quote exactly what she said.
Yeah.
She said that after observing you for 8 months, she said, quote, "From your attitude, hatred, and nature of your craziness,
My God.
she had no doubt that you were capable of hurting or killing another person."
Wow, that's crazy. But
That's not
you
the first
see,
time you've heard that.
I've heard a lot of bad things about that, like back in the past, like in 2016. But I just think that something must have pushed her to say something like that, because we had like a pretty good relationship.
Listen.
So I don't know.
I'm gonna say it. I'm interrupting again. Yes, you can have, I guess, a good relationship with somebody, and you're cool with them, but they can observe in how you act with other people, and that can say, okay, this person is cool with me, but how they act with other people is quite troublesome and worrisome. So yeah, it doesn't matter how you and someone might react. This is another perfect example. It's like, there's no way someone could do that. I know their character, blah blah. That may be true, you know, the character, because when they're around you, they're the best person, whatever. But then when they're with someone else, they could probably be a terrible person. You never know. But I do think what speaks for your character is consistency and how a lot of people see you. There's like one or two people like, yo, you're great, but there's like 10 or 20 other people saying, yo, something's off that person. The issue might be with you and not the other people. Not everyone's a hater that criticizes you. Just saying.
I don't know what happened there. I honestly don't know.
Jessica thinks that you have been somehow pushed to say the things that you said about her. Were you pushed at all?
Look, Liam, it's not my integrity or my character that should really be in question here. I think, like so many of the other Australians that were involved in the investigation, we wanted no part in this. It was a shock to us to even be questioned, but we were legally compelled to comply.
Backing Christie's testimony, the Australian Federal Police found chilling emails Jessica had written to herself, saying Christy and her mum should die, and claiming to know the right dose of poison needed to kill someone.
So, Christy, some of Jessica's comments and some of the things she wrote about the right dose of poison and the fact that you should die and your mum should die.
Those things were presented to me as part of interview, some things I wasn't aware of, and they stick with me today. I'm so, like others, just so deeply traumatized by having been dragged into this entire experience.
If you wanted to kill someone, you knew exactly how to do it and what the right dose
It's
was.
so false. Like at that time, I was thinking like, what? She did actually say that? Like I never even said anything like that. Like not even remotely close. Why would I even say that to my boss? Like it's crazy.
It is crazy.
But yeah, I didn't know what happened. Honestly, I don't know. Even if I was the person that she talked about,
yeah,
they still can't prove anything. You know, like it's just completely.
They can't prove it.
I just don't think it makes sense. But anyway.
Next.
I mean, who in their right mind is going to employ you? No offence, nobody in the office is going to trust you to go and do the coffee run.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. I'm not going to do a coffee run anyway.
Jessica's plan to make millions from her infamy.
Yeah, might as well. I can't blame her. She has to make money.
Even selling coffee.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, man. These days, people make the wrong people famous, so I'm not surprised she'll try to capitalize off that.
Received a 20-year sentence for murder. Her 2 appeals were refused.
She's gonna have to capitalize
but
off that.
last August, she was stunningly freed from prison after serving only 8 years. Jessica is still on parole until 2032, but has been granted a judicial review, which will make a final judgment on her guilt or innocence.
You've tried to appeal this twice since being convicted.
Yeah.
And you lost both times, but now you have this, almost this last roll of the dice, isn't it? Judicial review.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible it will find you innocent?
Well, there's this 50-50% chance, you know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, obviously. I can only hope. But it's like, let's just see what happens. Let's just go with the flow. I can only hope, you know.
But while she waits for that decision, she's wasting no time putting her notoriety to work. She's building a wide range of lucrative commercial offers, including a book and movie deal. But she says being an influencer is really the only way she can hope
that's the last
to
thing
earn a
influencers
living.
want to hear.
Pray they stay the same always.
Huh?
Who in their right mind is going to employ you? They're not exactly going to give you a job.
That's crazy though.
What chance?
She has no other route. I'm pretty sure she could probably find someone to hire her. That'd be crazy too. But she has no other route but to engage in that social media frenzy aspect of it and capitalize on it as much. Just like that whole thing with the Gypsy Rose. Like, let's not forget, Gypsy Rose, you know, that guy did what he did. But he was also, I think they said that he had some mental issues or whatever too. So she did take advantage of him too. But at the end of the day, he still did it. No one still did it. He's in jail for life. She's out of jail. I think she got released early, something like that, right? Or has short serving sentence, whatever. She's out of jail, and now she's not sure how much she's making, but she's making a living off of being an influencer, a reality TV star, and she murdered her mother. So people are making these people famous, which is weird to me. I don't understand. It's a crazy time living where bad behavior or bad or infamous thing gets rewarded. But yeah, and now she has like a reality Gypsy Rose, the reality TV about, you know, her thing, her boyfriends, whatever, being pregnant, all that kind of stuff. It is crazy. I don't think that's good. I'm curious to hear how these stories end. I wouldn't be surprised if I heard about Gypsy Rose or this girl in the news again. Maybe not now, maybe in the next 5, 10 years. Seems like this don't end well. Just don't.
Of you ever getting a normal job again?
Oh, this thing. When I think about it, I get like really freaked out. I don't know if I could get like a normal job anymore. Like, to be honest,
she have a
like,
rich
coming
family?
into the office at 9 o'clock and sitting there until 5, like I just
And no offense, nobody in the office is going to trust you to go to the coffee run.
yeah, that's totally fine. I'm not going to do a coffee run anyway. I'm not going to serve anyone anything right now.
Believe it or not,
Sorry, I know why it's
Indonesia's largest coffee chain is now trying to sign Jessica up.
That's crazy.
Along with beauty, food, and technology brands.
Why?
It's either one of two things. I'm sitting in front of a cold, calculated killer who murdered their friend on the basis of simple jealousy, or a young woman who is a terrible victim of circumstance. So which one do I choose?
I don't know. You choose.
I mean, in the eyes of millions of Indonesians
Well, I know it's
and young
sad.
people around the world on social
Then
media,
she is
you
somewhat
are the smiling
eventually
coffee killer.
attractive.
Yeah,
or more.
unfortunately, yes.
There will be people
So being known as that
that would
girl who
want her
killed her
and
friend,
support her
Yeah, it's very,
and
very
pay
hard.
for her lifestyle.
Incredibly.
That's the scary part.
There's no word.
There will be people
can
that are
even express that feeling of, you know, being called something like that.
She's gonna be okay.
But
She's gonna be very fine. Like,
what can I do? What can I do about it? If it happens, if in this lifetime I have to go through what I have to go through, then I have to go through it. I just keep going. Like, yeah, well, yeah, it's kind of my fate. So, what can I do about it?
well, that's a weird sort of karma to accept.
Yeah, I know, right? What did I do in past life?
Must have been something very bad.
Yeah.
let's just keep it real.
Any day now, an Indonesian court is expected to hand down its final decision on Jessica Wongso's guilt. We've reached out to the Indonesian government to ask if the Netflix documentary played any role in her early release from prison and the decision to grant her a judicial review. We're yet to receive a response.
Well, at this point, any publicity is good publicity for her. That's crazy. But
Here's
I
the
think
2-minute story of how I built a
the
$10
one
million a
thing-
year online business and how my mistake.
the one thing we have to remember and realize, even though all the hype and glam is on her right now, there's actually family members. This is something I'm starting to not realize, but I always knew this, but starting to put more emphasis on. You know, all this stuff is happening, it's entertaining, and we're all like, ooh, the details, the rumors, all that, you know, all that stuff. There's still, at the end of the day, real victims and people that are suffering from the loss of her actions. Like, what about the family members who lost their daughter, sister, or the husband who lost their wife? The situation, and I only can imagine how they feel, feeling their alleged killer or the killer of their loved one going this media frenzy blitz, whatever, get an interview. I'm probably making a lot of money from it too. So I can imagine how they feel, how that would drive them crazy. It's messed up. We live in weird times where we live in a weird time. But yeah. Weird times. I'm gonna keep going and drawing and let someone else play in the background. Yeah, keep going. Good stuff, good stuff. I'm gonna save here real quick as I work on my Chun-Li drawing. Drawing really slow because I'm really distracted watching this document. It's very good, by the way. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a drink.
He killed my dad. Now he can come and he can kill me anytime because he's free.
This was a man that you loved.
Tonight, a monster on the run.
He's obsessed. He's clearly quite dangerous.
The Aussie mum who fell in love with a man over TikTok.
So this murder was to get back at you, essentially.
So why is he a free man?
It's a hunt.
Good question.
He's never going to give himself up.
In this global investigation, across 3 countries,
Ranjit is currently hiding out here in Surrey. Did you know that?
Yep.
chasing the cops who are meant to be chasing the killer.
How did Ranjit Bath get away? How did he escape India? So she's in danger.
In my opinion, yes.
Western Sydney woman Kirandeep Sagar met her boyfriend on TikTok. Then he killed her father. It all began when the mother of two responded to a message from Indian rapper Ranjit Bath. The pair began dating, but their relationship soon became one of obsession. Ranjit stalked Kirandeep, and when she refused to marry him, things turned deadly. But in a shocking twist, the killer remains a free man and continues to threaten Kirandeep and her family daily. 7 News reporter Natasha Squarey with this global exclusive.
Singulet recently concluded a pediatric trial where it looked at CTX 1301 and came up with some new conclusions. Now, we haven't had a chance to look at this yet, but we've got the CEO of Singulet, Dr. Shane Schaefer, to tell us about it.
Thanks, John. So what we just saw in the data that we released was a fixed dose study where patients were randomized to one of 3 different Singulet CTX 1301 treatment arms or placebo. The data that we just saw showed that our product, once again, has performed phenomenally. At week 5, every single arm was less than a p-value of 0.05. Every single arm demonstrated great efficacy versus placebo, which is how the study was designed. In addition to that, in the CGI-I, which is the Clinical Global Impression of Improvement, all arms demonstrated very much improved or much improved. Now we have 9 straight studies where we've accomplished exactly what we've wanted to do with CTX 1301.
I guess we'll start with the very beginning.
He said he will kill my elder daughter in front of my eyes. He will kill my husband. He will kill me.
This was a man that you loved.
I know.
Kirandeep is beyond sorrow. She is beyond fear. Because of this man, Ranjit Bath, the murderer this mother of 2 invited into her life.
He is not a human. He is actual monster.
And all of this because in a moment of loneliness and confusion, Kiran answered a single message on TikTok.
What's he done to your family?
He did the worst to worst. It's like a nightmare.
All right, I am
and
back.
The almost incomprehensible truth about Ranjit Bath is that police in 3 countries know he's a cold-blooded killer and a terrifying stalker. And right now, they can't touch him.
I just sit on the sofa all night and looking at the door because I don't want anything to happen to my kids.
It's February 2023 and 38-year-old Kiran Sagar has called time on her marriage. She and her estranged husband are still living in the family home here in Sydney's western suburbs and caring for their 2 daughters. As splits go, it's civil and not necessarily final. But Kiran is unhappy, unsure and vulnerable. It's hardly a unique situation, nor unusual that Kiran might look online for distraction and company. Just what she's doing on TikTok when suddenly a message pops up.
We met on TikTok and he sent me just random message. Hi, how are you?
Worldwide ਸਾਡਾ ਨਾ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਐਂਡ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਚੱਲਦਾ
Her suitor is a self-styled Punjabi rap singer living in Canada. Stage name Ranjit Bath, real name Ranjit Singh Karlon.
So I just reply, okay, hi, I'm good. Then that's how we start talking frequently then after that.
Ranjit's not only dashing, but as their online friendship develops, he sounds caring and dependable.
I think that time something was missing. I feel like I'm lonely from inside. I need someone whom I can speak to. That's what I feel like. And I thought he is the one whom I can at least talk and share my feelings.
Their friendship becomes more loving and flirtatious, and they begin talking on the phone.
Then he starts saying, okay, if you think we can make a future together, then I will accept your kids with you, all these things.
That must have been nice to hear.
Of course, it was like very nice to hear. Then I said, okay, let's see how we go. If we think we are perfect to each other, then we will go from there.
You wouldn't call it a whirlwind romance, but through the course of 2023, the couple become almost inseparable. They make plans for a future together. Ranjit even reaches out to befriend Kieran's elderly father living in India.
All right, so this is the Light Festival. What do you think Ranjit is doing here with your dad?
Even I don't have these videos.
Right.
Yeah.
78-year-old Ravinder Paul was a semi-retired life insurance salesman who loved to travel.
He, like, in every years, like a minimum 2-3 times he traveled to Canada, England, New Zealand, Australia, all the countries. He loved to travel. We want him to enjoy his life. That's why he loved to travel. We just said, go for it. He have many friends in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. My new philosophy.
Let this be a cautionary tale. Be careful of the people you let into your life. Don't do things too fast or quickly or hastily. It is meant to be a workout. Don't rush into things. Move cautiously. Rushing is a great way to plan for a disaster.
From his hometown of Ludhiana in India's northern Punjab region, he often visited friends in Vancouver in Canada, home to a large Punjabi community. Home too for Ranjit Bath.
I didn't know Vancouver had such a
Why did you ask him to meet Ranjit?
Because I did speak to Ranjit that time.
Ontario,
and
Brampton.
I thought he is a good person. So it's good if my dad will see him before we take any decision.
That would be more of a...
So, at Kieran's request on a trip to Canada in late November last year, Kieran's father spent a few days with Ranjit, checking him out for his daughter.
So Ranjit must know that your dad's opinion is important to you.
Yeah, that's what, obviously he knows. My dad is like first person whom I trust and whom I always take suggestions from him.
So he's trying very hard to impress him.
He did try very hard.
As these videos show, Ranjit does all he can to impress his possible future father-in-law, including a visit to the White Rock Pier, the longest in Canada.
Well, this video was shot about 12 months ago or so. It was just before Christmas. There were lots of lights. The pier was lit up. It was busy. We can see Ranjit and Ravinder, they're just walking along, enjoying the time together.
Sitting in the light, that's beautiful.
This meeting is so important for him to impress my dad because he knows whatever my dad will say, I will go for that.
But according to Kieran's brother Vikram, living in India, Ranjit has another motive.
My father believed he was going to Canada
to be married and obtain permanent residency there. It was arranged by Ranjit.
It's an arrangement for which Ravinder allegedly pays Ranjit a substantial sum up front.
So 3 lakh rupees is around $5,500.
Yes, true.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah.
But according to Vikram, Ranjit's promise of a wife and Canadian visa came to nothing. The men argued and Ranjit became violent.
What?
My father returned to India on January the 26th and had a scar near his eye. He said Ranjit refused to give his money back and beat him.
But Kiran was unaware of Ranjit's violence and her father said nothing about it.
Why?
So what did your dad tell you about Ranjit? Did he disapprove of a marriage, a possible
No,
marriage?
my dad never said anything. He always said it's up to you, it's your life. Whatever you are happy, wherever you are happy, it's fine. He never say anything.
Why?
But with Kiran's developing relationship with Ranjit, her father told her he'd come to Australia and support her through this difficult time.
What were you looking forward to most about that time together?
Why didn't he say anything?
I was thinking I will try to do whatever best I can do for him. Because he did everything his whole life for us. He look after us, he send us here. Like, everything he can do, he did for us as a father.
As 2024 got underway, their online affair continued. Until one morning in March.
I was sleeping in the morning, my elder daughter, she go to school. Then someone pressed my home bell. And when I saw from the window, he was there. I don't know how come he suddenly came from Canada to Australia.
That's kind of weird.
So he turned up on your doorstep
Yeah,
unannounced.
on my doorstep. I was like shocked.
That's weird.
Ranjit had travelled halfway around the world with no warning.
I didn't open the door because I was not ready. And then he called me and he said, "Oh, Kiran, I really want you in my life. That's why I travel from Canada to Australia." He was like, "Oh, you are the only one whom I want in my life. You are the one whom I want to spend whole life with. Like I'm the one so special for him."
We all know the world is in tremendous crisis and peril today.
That's crazy.
The problem is, the culturescape keeps engulfing us and telling us.
Okay. I know in movies, that sounds so romantic, showing up unannounced and all that stuff. But in real life, 9 out of 10 times, let's correct it. 10 out of 10 times, if someone's not expecting you, especially like that from far away, it's more of an inconvenience and not romantic. Especially if you're not prepared to have guests or anything. Like, it all depends. Like, if you know the person already, you establish a rapport and all that stuff, then it can be a little different. But even then, showing up unannounced to people's houses is usually not the best thing to do. Like, even a fair warning. Like, it all depends. Like, if it's people you see every day, and you just stop and get something, that's different. But it's like, right now, if I was to show up, like, to some relatives' houses in Jamaica unannounced, they'd be like, What's going on? You're coming in not prepared for that. You're caught so off guard. Anyways, just saying. It all depends on the relationship you have with that person. But if I know if I was talking to someone online and they just randomly showed up, I'll be quite, whoa, what are you doing here? It'll be awkward.
I again trust him.
In the days and weeks that follow,
I don't understand why Dad didn't say anything.
We will see each other for coffee or for lunch.
understand why
Then
dad
we
didn't say
start
anything.
talking with each other. Then we start sharing more stuff with each other.
And you became an item here.
Yes.
Item, haven't heard that in a while. You guys are an item now?
You start imagine all those stuff like, okay, maybe in future we will be together and we will look after kids, all these things. That's what I feel.
Do you remember the first time he said he loved you?
He's still saying that.
A conservative Indian woman with 2 young daughters, Kiran wants time to consider the biggest decision of her life.
Especially young kids, gotta be careful.
But Ranjit has other ideas.
I always keep on asking him, okay, don't be rush.
Yes.
We will give each other time, then we will decide what we can do. Even
Yes,
it will,
that's how it's supposed
maybe
to be.
it can be 1 year, 2 year, 3 years,
Don't
because
rush.
I don't want to go from one life to another hell. So that's what I try to explain him as well. But he always trying to push me, no, just do my visa, just do my papers, all these things. But my answer was always same, I'm not ready. That's what I think he started getting irritated from me.
Ranjit demands that Kiran divorce her estranged husband, still living at the family home, and move in with him.
He was forcing me to leave the house as well. Okay, leave the house and stay somewhere else. I said, I can't do that. I have kids. How come I can just leave my kids home and I can come and stay with you? It's not possible. I try to explain everything nicely, but he don't want to understand.
So the pressure was too much.
The pressure was too much.
That's a red flag right there.
Unable to sway Kiran, Ranjit begins menacing her estranged husband. Then come death threats.
What were the threats made to your ex-husband at the time?
He said, if you don't give her divorce, then I will kill you. If you don't talk to me, I will come to your house straight and I will just ring your bell, let Raj open the door. I will just straight away cut his neck and you will cry for whole life.
For Kiran, the revelation of Ranjit's true character was shocking. He had only been in Australia a scant 2 months and gone from potential life partner to a man now threatening murder.
Yeah.
In April, Ranjit was charged with stalking and intimidating Kiran's estranged husband. He pleaded guilty and he was deported to Canada in June. But if Kiran thought Ranjit was out of her life, she couldn't have been more tragically wrong.
Yeah.
Every day, even if I block his number, he send me messages from like 50 new numbers he have.
From Canada, Ranjit bombards Kiran with messages and calls. His obsession with her is now fully revealed, and it's frightening.
Like every day, it's new numbers. I have everything in my phone. He keep on sending me videos, crying, okay. I was like, oh no, I don't want anything from him. Then he start like, okay, if you don't talk to me, let's see what I'll do.
Wow.
Kiran seeks help from New South Wales police, but is told they can do nothing.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't like.
Inform police here.
I know the police can't do nothing, the person hasn't done anything or act, but when you see certain patterns and certain things in behavior, then I think you should be allowed to intervene. Remember, a restraining order is only good when the cops get there to enforce it. You hear? Let me repeat that again. A restraining order is only good when the cops get there to enforce it. Because a restraining order won't stop a crazy person if they really are after you. just scary and sad.
I speak to them like this is what happening. They just they took my statement and they give me one number.
Their hands are
But they
tied. They
said they
literally
can't
can't do
do
nothing.
anything much because he's not here.
Whatever he's planning, Ranjit's repeated threat is that he'll make Kiran cry her whole life. He targets her eldest daughter.
Oh, I'm sick, frick.
There was
Why
one
try to
message
do
where he
children?
threatened your daughter. What did that say?
Oh, it's good.
He said, I know how much you love your daughter, and then if you don't talk to me, I will come and I will kill like slowly to your daughter in front of your eyes.
This guy is sick.
What runs through your mind when you're reading that? Messages like that.
Messed up.
I'm scared. I always think maybe if he will do something like that.
Then on August the 6th, 2 months after being deported to Canada, Ranjit tries to re-enter Australia. Failing to declare he's under deportation orders, he's refused entry and barred from the country for 3 years.
Al Mustafa's global family's 40 years of compassion, 3.5 million Qurbani beneficiaries last year alone. For just 55 Canadian dollars, join us in turning your Qurbani from a simple sacrifice into a beacon of light. Al Mustafa Canada, beyond sacrifice, Qurbani for change.
With Chambers' plan, there's strength in numbers. Canada's
That's crazy.
How do you think Ranjit felt when he was turned away at the airport here, when he was sent back?
He think he got disappointed because he came here for revenge. That's what I feel like. He really want to do something bad for me. It's my feelings. I feel like he want to kill me or something. That's why he want to come to this country again, because he knows I'm not talking to him. There is no point to come back.
Kiran was living in constant fear that Ranjit would not give up trying to get back to Australia. And from his foul and violent messages, she was in no doubt what his intentions were.
I just want to know.
Did you fear for your safety then?
Yeah.
After you send a message like that, a threatening of harming or killing someone's loved one, what is the end goal of that when you finally meet that person? You think they're just going to forget all about that? Why you want someone to love you out of fear? I don't understand the idea behind that. I'm going to threaten you. Oh, I'm going to threaten you. Now, love me back. Right, threat. Doesn't make sense. If someone says some violent stuff about threatening a family member or a friend of mine or somebody or even me, the last thing I want to do is meet up with that person and talk to them. Feels like, yeah, I'm staying far away from you. You're weird.
I feel
Like, not to go into my personal details, I never talked to someone and they said something went bad, I guess miscommunication or something. I know they were sending a message. It was very not nice. Not even threatening about my life right there. It was just not a nice message. Like they were basically telling me, "You better listen to me." Blah blah blah. I was like, "I'm not gonna listen to you." I just blocked them. And that same person had my other contact information and messaged me on another app to tell me to unblock them from that app and to read their message. I didn't. To this very day. Not getting that satisfied. I just blocked them again on there. I don't need to read that, understand. I think we established that we're not going to talk anymore. There's just crazy people out there. Show your emotion, people.
I always sit on the sofa.
Sorry she's going through that. It's crazy. Deal with crazy people. Especially you have kids and stuff where you can't always.
I don't know how
be
many
around to
nights
be
I
sure they're
spend like
safe.
that. I just sit on the sofa whole night and looking at the door because I don't want anything happen to my kids.
Are you terrified he'll come back?
I always feel if he will not come back, he will send someone. That's always in my mind. And I don't know, I can't cope because all these messages and everything, I feel somewhere scared. I feel scared, like even though if I sleep for 1 second, maybe something will happen.
Well, you suspected that's when something happened. That's a terrible position to be.
And then one day, 25th of August, I got a message from my dad's phone. He just mentioned my name, which he didn't never do that. And when he sent me that message, I got like, why my dad sent me that message?
Kieran could not have imagined the horrific dimensions of the truth.
Don't tell me you went to India after that.
Next, the depraved revenge of Ranjit Bath.
Do you think your dad had any idea of the danger that he was in when he got into that car?
He is not a human. He is actual monster.
I like these cameras.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track.
We're gonna fix that up later.
I create custom statuses to organize my progress exactly how I want. I like to add the action items field so AI can show me the next steps. I add my teammates as watchers so they're in the loop. ClickUp makes work easy, from personal projects to running a multi-billion-dollar company. Click the link below to create your workspace for free.
That's crazy.
If you're sick and tired of being broke and unable to even pay your bills, this is for you. If you're unemployed and at Last Chance Saloon, this is for you. If you're a single...
Ravinder Singh Paul was a loving and supportive father to his 4 children. But especially to his baby daughter, Kieran.
So you had a special bond?
Yeah, of course we are.
So sad.
My dad's supposed to come here last week.
So when on the 25th of August this year, Kieran receives a strange message from his mobile, she's immediately concerned. Coming at a time she's being obsessively stalked by Ranjit Bath. For the next 24 hours, she tries to call her father, living in the northern Punjab region of India.
The second day in the early morning, I called my dad's friend as well because my father's phone is coming up switch off. He said, okay, give me 10-15 minutes. I'll go and have a look. And he was in the market and he said, oh, how come your dad's car is here in the market?
With no sign of her father in the market, Kieran becomes more and more worried.
1 hour gone, 2 hour, 3 hour gone. Then I called my brother. I said, oh, you know, where is Dad? He said, no. I said, okay, can you do a favor? Just go and check on him. He said, okay. He went there. The car was there.
Her brother reports that in the seemingly abandoned car is a bag containing her father's lunch. To Kieran, it's an ominous clue.
Because my mom already passed. So he normally buy food from outside. So he packed his food and he put it on the car back seat. And when my brother was showing me on the camera, the food was like that in the car.
Kieran's brother Vikram takes our Indian crew to where his father's car was found.
I got a call from my younger sister. She told me that the car was parked here. I came to see the car at 11 a.m. and called my sister back to tell her the car was here, but no one was around.
So you're here. How are you feeling?
I feel something is wrong, but I didn't feel, but I didn't even imagine like it will be that bad.
Oh my God.
I asked my brother go to police station and report he's missing. And in the meantime, Ranjit was keep on calling me because I was so upset. I was explaining him as well, oh, my dad is missing.
The next day, I went to Dhaka police station and filed a complaint to say my father was missing. Then they told me they had a body in the mortuary.
Oh my gosh.
I saw the body, and it was my father.
Oh my God.
Their father had been murdered, strangled to death, his body dumped by the side of the road.
This is the place where the police found his body. When they found him, he was bleeding and there were rope marks on his neck. They found threads from rope on his neck.
For the family in India and Kieran in Australia, the truth of what has happened to their father is beyond their worst imagination.
How did they know?
That will always stay in my mind.
Did you give them their
I
personal
can't
address?
bring my dad back.
But an even more dreadful truth was to come. The identity
That's so
of
messed
the
up.
alleged killer. It was Ranjit Bath. We now know how the murder unfolded. On August the 25th, Kieran's father was lured to the town's market by Ranjit on the pretext of buying life insurance from him.
That's what I know, like he make up the story. He called him for the life insurance and that's how my dad go there and he did everything with him.
With his nephew Guli as his accomplice and driver, Ranjit somehow convinced Ravinder to get into his car.
And they make him sit on the front seat and his nephew was driving and Ranjit was sitting behind.
Once you lose your enamel, you can't really get it back, strong enamel. Nothing beats it. Pro Enamel Active Shield.
From the beach
That's
to
crazy.
your backyard, summer looks good on you.
He just, with the rope, he just did my dad's neck.
Terrible. Terrible.
And then he threw him in the bushes. That's what I heard from the police and from his nephew.
Do you think your dad had any idea of the danger that he was in when he got into that car?
I don't think so he have any idea. If he have any idea, then he called me or someone. He trust on him.
What's even crueler, while Kieran was still unaware her father had been murdered, she received an urgent message to call Ranjit. Frantic about her father, she called him back and heard a bizarre story.
So I called him, I asked him what happened. He said I was driving on the road and there is one small puppy. He comes in front of my car and I killed him by mistake. And I said, oh, just check on him, give him some water or something. He straight away said, no, we can't do anything now because he is already dead. And when I asked him what you did with the dog, he said, I throw the body in the bushes. That's what he did with my dad. My dad's body. The person whom I believe he is a god for me, he is comparing that person as a dog. I can't even express. Like Ranjit, he is not a human, he is actual monster.
Guys,
While Ranjit's accomplice was arrested, and paraded for the media by local police. Ranjit himself managed to escape custody.
Oh.
The murder case is being handled by the Dhaka police station in the Punjab region. Its commander Govinder Singh first committed to an interview with us, but was then unavailable for 2 days running, always claiming urgent business. So our Indian crew chased him until finally he sat down with his offsider to answer our questions.
How did Ranjit Bath get away? How did he escape India?
So the matter is still under investigation. We're trying to find out how he did escape and who were involved and who helped him to escape.
But Kiran and her family are deeply suspicious of just how easily Ranjit got away.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
It's a suspicion echoed by a respected Punjabi journalist living in Canada, Gurpreet Sahot, who has no doubt Ranjit Bath bribed his way to freedom.
It's not about solving the murder, it's about making the money out of this case for Punjab police. So what they will do is they will make money out of it, they will take money from Ranjit Bath, and then they will present the case very weakly in front of a judge, and it happens like this often.
So you're saying the police force there is corrupt?
100%.
There are allegations that Indian police took bribes to help Ranjit Bath escape. How do you respond to that?
There's nothing like that. We haven't received any information like that, nor has anyone sent a formal complaint to us regarding this.
However, he managed to evade police. We've established that Ranjit fled India. First to the Philippines, then to Canada, where he holds citizenship. Around 2 weeks after the murder of Kiran's father, Ranjit landed in Vancouver.
Will Canada expedite
But in India, Commander Singh seemed unclear whether Ranjit had even left the country.
Have you heard that he is in Canada? He's living as a free man in Canada.
No, we haven't received any authentic information regarding this. We have to find out when he did leave the country. How did he leave the country? Did he really leave the country? Once we have all of that, we need to find out who helped him to leave.
It's been 3 months since the murder. Why haven't you checked his passport activity? We've been able to confirm he was in Canada as recently as November.
Neither the victim's family has told us anything about it, nor anyone from anywhere has put this fact in front of us.
While the Punjabi police appear relaxed about the whereabouts of an alleged killer, Ranjit continues to terrorise Kiran.
He can kill. He sent me one message in which he's saying if he can kill one person from my family, he can kill my whole family.
Next,
what's the
chasing a
obsession
killer.
though?
Halfway around.
Well, I don't understand. Why is he so obsessed over her? I don't understand it. What does he want from her? I'm pretty sure if you have Canadian citizenship, I'm pretty sure trying to immigrate to Australia, it shouldn't be that much harder or difficult. I'm pretty sure there's restrictions and stuff like that. But what's his deal? Okay, weird.
Around the world.
Did you know that Ranjit Bath was wanted for that murder in India?
Yeah.
Should she be worried?
She should be very worried.
The bottom line is,
I don't understand his obsession with it.
or not.
All humans are born with abilities.
The meaning of it all, I think, is going to get a lot more interesting.
Channeling in the brain is called gamma, between 40 and 100 cycles per second.
The pineal gland allows us to discern other levels of cosmic intelligence.
Lucid dreaming allows you to rewire your brain while you sleep.
The whole universe is mathematical vibration.
The chakras take into consideration plexuses of the nervous system.
There's 1.8 million words of science published right now on remote viewing.
We're so much more than we've been led to believe. And as we accept that into our lives, we become the instruments of healing and peace in our world.
Oh man, it's crazy.
We've come to Canada to try to track down Ranjit Bath, the man who killed Kieran's father and who continues to terrorise her. We swiftly discover that despite Vancouver's beautiful exterior, it is also a perfect hiding place for Ranjit, according to the local private investigator we've put on the case.
We're coming up to the last known address here on the left. That's where this dark stained fence, the steel door is, here to the left.
With its large Indian population, Surrey on the city's western outskirts is where the tragic absurdity of this story is now playing out. We stake out Ranjit's last known address here.
We've been outside Ranjit's house now for about 4.5 hours. We're not sure if he's living with friends or family or even with other roommates. There's been some movement so far this morning. We've seen some leaving by car, others on foot, but so far there's been no sign of Ranjit.
Then we get information about another address he's been seen at.
My name's Natasha Squarey. I'm a journalist from Australia. We're actually looking for someone who might have lived here before, Ranjit.
Yes.
Yeah, does he still live here?
He is moved already.
Oh, okay. How long ago did he move? How long ago did he move?
I think on 4th of this month.
It's a low-end rental property, seemingly for single men. Ranjit lived here very recently before his landlady threw him out.
I have thrown him out so hard. It was so hard. For 8 months, he didn't pay us rent. He was very
bad
wrong man. Thank God that he moved from here.
Really? Are people
We
bold
know
to do that?
Ranjit is living free in this Punjabi community.
Alright, guys. I'm just gonna save here real quick. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream right here. I'm gonna save and end the stream right here. I didn't get to finish this drawing, but that's okay. We're gonna come back to it. But yeah, I'm gonna end right here. It is time for me to get going and do some other things in the day. I'm gonna come back to this drawing and finish it up. Maybe by the next stream, I'll probably have all the line work done, or do it on stream. But yeah, we're pretty much getting there. Right now, we're just adding the fine details and making it look good and all that stuff and cleaning it up. Yeah, again, I am Giovanni Hall Art, and you can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Tumblr, X, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Patreon. More exclusive stuff. Links are in the bio. Alright, I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys have a good one. Bye. Mm.